Now, this video is not going to be a one-size-fits-all, but rather the things that I have done in my 20s once I started earning, so that you get an idea of the important financial goals to set and achieve as early as possible in your adult life. And this video is going to help you to build that financial blueprint, or rather life blueprint. So let's get started. To give you a bit of my background, after completing my degree from Melbourne University, I started my career as a tech graduate with a take-home salary of $5,000 a month. Now, for a single person back then, this was a significant amount, at least for me. Unfortunately, I'm from a culture where I've been taught to spend less and save more, which actually influenced me to become a frugal person growing up. And my expenses were very, very low. It was approximately $1,500 every month, so which was roughly 30% of my income. Well, the only expensive thing that I've ever bought was this SLR camera, which I'm still using to shoot my videos, so it's kind of like an investment, don't you think? Anyway, these were my 5 top financial goals that I've set and achieved in my 20s. The number 1, design a 10-year life blueprint. Now, why 10 years? Because you realize or not, you are going to change. You are going to be a completely different person in the next 10 years. Your values going to change. Your priorities going to change. Your social circle, your friend circle is going to change. And this life, my friend, is way too long to plan for everything. So based on your values and priorities of today, you can plan for 10 years. And that's what I did. Now, there's no point in building wealth if you don't build your life, right? And 20s is the time to do things, to explore, to experience, while you still have your good health and energy. And I knew making money and saving money was good, and being frugal had its own perk. My savings rate was almost 70% every month, and I used to love it. But soon I felt just by saving, I'm missing out on life. I was depriving myself, and I didn't like that feeling. And that's when I sat down with myself to ask this burning question: am I really, really happy with my life's current state? And in that question, I included 3 things: health, career, and hobbies. Why health? Because we have just got one body and we have to look after ourselves, because this body needs to go a long, long way. So are you looking after your health? In career, am I happy? Am I learning? Am I growing as a professional? Because if you're not growing, if you're not learning, your earning potential will decline, and that's something you don't want. And finally, number 3 is something which is very, very important, and that's something we tend to ignore a lot of time, is hobby. Am I doing things that I love? Do I even know what are the things that I love to do? And these questions opened a lot of other conversations with myself. And I realized that although I was doing pretty good health and career wise, I wasn't doing enough on hobbies. I was depriving myself. And from that point onwards, I made a point to myself that I'm not going to deprive myself. I'm going to live my life. And for that, I started budgeting, to consciously budget for my hobbies, for my wants, so that I don't deprive myself. The one thing I love is traveling. And since I was working in Singapore back then, I started traveling Southeast Asia. And in the next 8 years, I traveled to more than 50 cities in around 20 countries. Surely it knocked my savings numbers down a bit, but the memories, the experience I've built were priceless. Like, I've never imagined doing hot air ballooning in Cappadocia, Turkey, or scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, and endless hiking and traveling around Europe from Greece all the way to Germany. So find what you love to do and do it without hesitation, because hobbies are food to the soul, and you should not deprive your soul. So at this point, my 10-year plan was looking something like this. In terms of health, do regular exercises 3 to 4 times a week. In terms of career, keeping track of the learning and growth. Learning skills to future-proof my career. In terms of hobbies, I love traveling and taking photographs. So to have balance between saving and spending, and to enjoy my life while still working towards my financial goal, I had to be structured. And that's when I discovered the 50-30-20 rule. So the 50-30-20 rule, basically 50% of your take-home pay goes to your needs like housing, food, utilities, 30% for your wants like hobbies, entertainment, eating out, and 20% for your savings and investments. For me, I was earning $5,000 a month, so $2,500 was for needs, $1,500 for wants, and the remaining $1,000 for savings and investments. But I was already saving way more, which was fantastic. And the beauty of the 50-30-20 rule isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. You need to understand your personal financial situation and readjust the ratio accordingly. Well, personal finance is personal for a reason, right? Now, once you have your 10-year plan in place and the budgeting structure in place, like the 50-30-20 or any other variation that's suitable to you, make a habit of paying your credit card in full every month. And one of the biggest mistakes that young people do is not paying their credit card in full every month. And by doing so later in life, they realize what mistake they have done. It impacts your credit score, it impacts your credit history, and you don't want that. And a big rule of thumb is to keep your credit utilization ratio below 30%. Less is more in this case. Meaning if your credit card lets you borrow $10,000, always keep your credit card balance under $3,000. Now that you have included these three, the fourth one would be embrace the magic of compounding. Maybe you have heard the ancient story of chess and rice. No? Anyway, the story goes like this. Thousands of years ago, there was an emperor who learned about the game of chess, and he was so impressed by it that he offered the game's inventor one wish: anything he wanted. The inventor humbly said that he just wanted rice. 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, then 2 grains of rice on the second, 4 on the third, and so on, doubling each time all the way to the 64th square. The emperor laughed and quickly agreed, thinking that this was such a silly and simple request. But this simple promise led to the collapse of his entire empire. By the 30th square alone, the emperor's debt compounding to over 1 billion grains of rice. By the time he reached the 64th square, the emperor owed over 18 quintillion grains of rice, bankrupting the entire kingdom. That's exactly what you need to do with your finances. Start investing your money and let it compound for decades. If you invest $10,000 in year 1 and get an average of 10% return on the S&P 500, you earn an additional $1,000. In year 2, you earn $1,100. In year 3, $1,210. Just like chess and rice, over time you earn interest on the money you originally saved plus the interest you receive for that original amount. In just 3 years, you have earned an additional $3,310 without even lifting a finger. Now, if we graph this over the next few decades, we get an exponential growth curve, which is why Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. But what's an even better feeling than seeing your money grow when you're not working are the options you have when you're older. Like you can start a new career, spend more time with your family, or even retire early. And finally, this has nothing to do with finances, but rather behavioral. And that is stop seeking external validation. When we are young, we want to prove ourselves and seek validation from others. We base our happiness on what other people are thinking about us. But instead, if we focus on self-care, self-improvement, and self-validation, that will pay way more dividend than you can possibly think of. And before finishing this video, I want to quote this beautiful quote by Ann Landers. At 20, we worry about what others think of us. At 40, we don't care what they think of us. At 60, we discovered that they haven't been thinking of us at all. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. Do share this video with your loved ones. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.